Hello everyone, Maurice and welcome to Things Invest, where we talk about investing, finance, professional development. For today's video, 80 times only. The investment I'm going to talk about today will be Ethereum ticket ETH. First, just want to say happy Monday, everybody. Hope you have a great weekend, a great July 4th for the US folks as well. And with respect to Ethereum, as of this morning, so I'm recording around 9:10 a.m. on Eastern time, right? It's currently trading around like the $2,225, down about 1.69% so far. It seems like we're kind of cooling off from the consecutive positive days that we've had during this weekend, right? With respect to the positive media affectation that's been propelling the market to go up, right? And just to keep tabs, right? With respect to the first one, the JP Morgan article on the adoptions or the future adoption with respect to the proof of stake utilizations going forward, expecting the industry to grow from 9 billion at the current level right now to 20 billion in the next 2 years and to reach 40 billion by 2025. So obviously in a macro perspective, massive growth, massive adoption, utilization specifically stem from Ethereum going forward. So definitely extremely positive news across the spectrum, right? With respect to another news that we got during the Sunday, in case you didn't watch my previous video, on a large bet that a big whale had decided to infuse into the market, about $542 million of a purchase of Ethereum due rates from June 24th all the way to July 1st. So basically 2 Thursdays ago and the last exact Thursday ago, right? So the purchase was around $2,100 within 133 different accounts. So definitely a lot of fishy activities going on with respect to this large purchase, right? And stem from the, frankly, a lot of the negative media affectation that we've had consecutively so far. But now we see, and we've been percolating a lot of positive, correlating media affectation, right? It's like 5 negative news and then 5 positive news subsequent to it, right? Another news that we got earlier this morning, I would say a couple hours ago, I think like 4 or 5 hours ago, EY has released an article on their initiative to take a crack at the Ethereum gas fee problems that we've been kind of cultivating for quite some time now, right? With a new protocol called the Nightfall 3 to basically directly address the issues to make Ethereum blockchain a cheaper usage and transactions without sacrificing privacy protections. And the rationale, behind the thesis of this initiative is really due to the fact that as Ethereum scales further, we're gonna address a transactional scalability bottleneck issues going forward, right? And Ethereum is gonna use their technological capabilities to try to, address that problem by cutting to the core, right? By lowering and mitigating the gas fee that subsequently needs to be stemmed to cultivate these Ethereum, right? So this is a tackle on both a technological, tactical, and infrastructure issues going forward. So we'll learn more about this issues going forward, about what they're proposing, because it seems like based on my read historically, they tried this once in 2019, but they failed. But they have to subsequently go through a lot of beta model to revise and reinvent, if you may. It seems like they are making some progressions on that front. So we'll see how that goes, right? Because ultimately we need to address these issues to achieve global massive utilizations for this blockchain technology going forward. So definitely, more of a neutral news, but lean more of a positive spectrum because EY is sticking their neck out there to address this issue up front. So with respect to these like consecutive positive news, we have this sell-off today. So I'm gonna go through a technical analysis again to see how's the market dynamic shaking out right now ahead of the summit, right? How should we be dollar cost averaging? What are the levels to dollar cost at? And my price target for year in 2021 as well. So stay tuned, stay around. Let's make some more. Right, so moving on to the technical analysis for Ethereum ticket ETH, I'm recording at 9:38 a.m. on the Eastern time right now, currently trading around like the $2,221, down about 2% so far. With respect to the consecutive positive days so far, just keep tabs real quick, right? With respect to, let's take a look at that, the green candle we had here on the July 2nd, which is on Friday. So this was stemmed from the JP Morgan research report that came out with respect to the proof of stake adoption stem from Ethereum global utilizations going forward. obviously, as a stamp of approval for Ethereum, but also with respect to cryptocurrencies as a whole. That's why that specific day across the market, I think Bitcoin is up about 1% because this article is mainly more channeled towards Ethereum and subsequently pumped up from there. And then we got another green candle. I believe this was on a Saturday or a Sunday in between the two timelines. We also got another article with respect to the $542 million bet by one institutional or investor entity durating from June 24th all the way to July 1st, with a cost average of about $2,100 with 133 different accounts, right? So obviously a big bet like this, I mean, relatively speaking, is small compared to like the overall Ethereum market size, but it's still big in terms of like a one-time purchase, right? In that short amount of durations, right? And ever since then, we also had another positive news, the one I just mentioned with respect to ENY, on addressing the gas fee issues with respect to Ethereum's utilizations and adoptions and massive growth going forward. Obviously, we need to address this heads on to provide more substance as we build up this assets going forward. And now we could see that on Monday, and today in US is a holiday as well, stem from the July 4th weekend that lies on a Sunday. So today is an off day for people that are work in the corporate offices. But for me, for us, entrepreneurs or people that are workaholics, if you may, today's not really off day. We had a little bit more of a selling pressure today because just to normalize a little bit, right? This was expected, and we were anticipating a cool off that I addressed in my previous videos already, right? So this is despite the positive news that we got from ENY, and frankly, it was more of a neutral news, but lean more toward a positive spectrum in a foreshadow perspective, right? Because they're addressing it with this new technology that they're implementing, but it still needs to go further refinement. It needs to go through reiteration going forward. So it's not like a make it or like a done deal, if you may, right? So it's something that they're foreshadowing us, they're telling us, giving a heads up on. But overall, it's still a positive news because they're addressing an issue that needs to be fixed in the future anyways, and EY sticking the neck out there is something that we appreciate, definitely, right? Obviously, as a long-term investor. So with respect to what I see current level right now, we are basically hovering back from, you can see that yesterday we tested somewhere around like the $2,350, but we didn't really have any substance to propel upward with this like 3-4 escalator upward staircase, right? So what happened eventually is that we bounced back down to test the more comfort zone, right? Which is the $2,250 level, which you see that leap down, right? You could see how quickly it kind of sharply dropped off, and then we hit that $2,250 level, and then subsequent to the level that we're at right now, 2,227. So currently we're kind of hovering in the air right now, right? So the next logical level for us to go down to would be, I think we actually did that already earlier today, to hit that $2,150 level, which is a more of a comfort zone, right? And again, that's a level that we, if you count today, that will be 18 times that we've tested historically as a consolidation level, right? So 2,150 is definitely a very strong level of support that we've formed now. So if I was to dollar cost average and build out your position from here, I think that's a relatively good position to buy, for the first time if you haven't bought Ethereum at all in the past, or start building your position from here, right? I think, this cool off is happening right now, and you can see that the RSI, we are, kind of cooling off right now, despite the MACD still kind of stretched up right now. You could see how much of a long durations, and we are forming, a relatively large spread at the moment right now in comparisons to historical spreads, despite the sell-off that we've had so far, right? So I think the good level to buy would be 2,150. Do we see $2,050 or anywhere below that? I think the likelihood of like getting back to like the 1950 would be relatively low at this point. I think 2,150 will be very likely. I think we did that already, but $2,050, I think we should be getting there because the RSI needs to kind of normalize going forward a little bit. Also, the MACD is kind of stretched right now, so we do need to kind of cool down, right? Think of us like pitching a baseball, right? Going over the field. I think right now we're kind of hitting the apex of the curvature of the trajectory of the baseball, right? So, and we slowly coming back down right now, and we basically gonna match if you're following the normal course of cadence in the supply and demand dynamics, we should be flowing back down a little bit back to the optimal level, 2,150 and possibly $2,050, right? However, we do know that the summit is happening basically a week out from now, right? So here's basically two things that we will be basically predicting. Knowing the fact that the summit is kind of a debate between, a pro Bitcoin person or an anti Ethereum person, right? So it's kind of like a debate between like Bitcoin versus altcoin, right? Two things we need to watch out for ahead of the market, right? There's a possibility that we could be selling the rumor and buy the news, or buy the rumor, sell the news type of affectation. It could be either way. Because of the fact that it seems like the conference is more pro Bitcoin this time. Obviously, it's hosted by Jack Dorsey, and Kathy Wood is a pro, you know. I mean, Kathy was more of a neutral person, but Elon Musk, he's a Bitcoin adopter, but he hasn't really talked anything about Ethereum at all. He's been kind of pumping Dogecoin, but it's more for like a media affectation type of play, and frankly, kind of a joke upon the whole catalyst as well. So it could be kind of a mixed bag, right? But because of the fact it's kind of a debate between altcoin versus Bitcoin, that people could potentially sell altcoin ahead of the summit and then buy back up after the summit. Or they could be buying altcoin ahead of the summit and then sell on the news. So we have to watch the dynamics. And then based on what I see so far, my projection is that we're going to lean more towards a overall agnostic spectrum, that the overall crypto market is going to go up ahead of the summit. And we shouldn't see any specific differentiations. We might see a little bit more preferential treatments towards Bitcoin just for the sake of the catalyst, who's hosting this event, right? Jack is going to be hosting. He's a maximalist in Bitcoin. So we should be seeing some anticipatory pressure momentum towards Bitcoin specifically. We might see some drag effects for Ethereum, but Ethereum is becoming more and more of an entity of itself. It's slowly pulling away from that historical correlation effect that we've seen for Bitcoin, because Ethereum is becoming a little bit more massively adopted now. It's becoming more and more of an entity rather than just like a byproduct of Bitcoin in terms of like a momentum perspective, right? So something we need to watch out for. I'll definitely keep an eye out on this, but seems like we should be going up from here. And I think in the next couple of days we should be cooling off a little bit for Ethereum, knowing the fact that with the 3 consecutive days of positive news already, that it just takes some time to normalize a little bit, and then once the percolation start to begin, and I think we should be starting to have that momentum built in or start to percolate somewhere around like the late of this week, ahead of the summit, and then we'll see. But right now we need to watch the dynamics of it. So it's kind of binary at the moment, right? But my personal assessment is that it's going to be more of a macro pump going forward. Bitcoin's going to be more prominent in comparison to other coins, but Ethereum's going to have that like positive drag effect, right? Or pseudo drag effects from Bitcoin, but also with respect to just more exposures and media affectation perspective, we should be getting up there, instead of the other way around of selling the rumor or buy the news. All right, so moving on to the technical analysis recap, you can see that 2,250 as the current level that we're at right now. But I do see more of a propensity to go down even further a little bit to the 2,150. That's a more, of a comfort zone for the Ethereum specifically, right? We've tested that level about 18 times historically. So I would actually weigh out a little bit to buy the 2,150, knowing the fact that the MACD is relatively stretched up right now and the RSI needs to cool down a little bit. In terms of steel level, $2,050 level, I think we might get there actually, depending on how, much more of a black swan news we hear going forward and how volatile is the market going forward ahead of the summit, right? So something we need to watch out for, and I'll keep an eye out for you guys, keep you guys updated. Corporate adoption 20%, 9,800, 4.4 times your money if you buy the 2,250. Alright, so this is it for today. Respect my technical analysis on Ethereum ticker ETH. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. And please let me know if you have any questions. Happy to address them. And please hit the like button, subscribe button, and also bell notification. Watch out for the next coming up. Take care. Bye.